Well, kia ora koutou, ko Monique Bradley tōku ingoa, he kai kōrero aho. I'm Monique Bradley, I'm a storyteller, and so are you. I'm really excited to be going live with this new series that I've created called Speak Easy. And that's purely because I deal a lot with business owners, professionals, entrepreneurs, leaders, coaches, everybody you can imagine. And everybody has a story worth telling. That's my belief, first of all. That's why they do what they do. But secondly, we all have those challenges when it comes to communication and speaking confidently. So throughout this series, I'll be sharing tips and tricks on how you can speak more confidently, with more conviction, more authentically, and anything you need to basically enable you to deliver your message clearly, to create connection, even to support your sales process with your message or the type of work that you're wanting to share. I'm really excited about this too because what inspired it was, aside from the fact that I run workshops and I'm an MC and I'm a keynote speaker and I'm an actor, and I've actually started my training when I was 8 years old, and I've lived an entire life with a body full of 1 million words that I've learnt crafting and honing and now teach other people to share. The reason why I'm doing this on this platform, and hi everybody watching, it's nice to see so many of you on there. I'm sharing it this way because I was inspired by another storyteller in my household, Pete Ward, and I'm today in Pete's studio, which is also the studio I use. Pete is also a storyteller like me. He approaches storytelling from the digital perspective, helping people tell their story, become the face and voice of their brand, and podcasting is a great way to do that. So today, welcome to mine and to Pete's podcast studio. It was great watching Pete launching his podcast yesterday, and I thought, well, I'm going to tag along off his coattails because I've got a story and I've got knowledge I want to share too, and it's great to have you here with me. So today is really an opening into sharing some insights into how I've trained people and myself to deal with the world's biggest fear, which is, of course, the fear of public speaking. And I've got some really important information to share with you today. So we're going to bring up those slides so that you can see. If you need a screenshot, anything, or make some notes, please do so. This will also be available on demand after the live broadcast today. So first of all, this is me, Speak Easy, dealing with nerves. So what I wanted to share with you today, first of all, is that everybody deals with nerves. We all deal with nerves, and we deal with them in quite different ways as well. As I mentioned, the number one fear in the world, you'd be so surprised, is what we call glossophobia. And glossophobia is actually the fear of public speaking. But of course, public speaking happens in lots of different formats. And we can experience that for different reasons as well. But in the different formats, while I might be comfortable and confident going on camera like this, and I love speaking in front of live audiences, everybody speaks differently at that different level of what we call intimacy, or the intimacy scale. So I'm trained to speak in front of large audiences, and then I did further training to be able to speak confidently to camera so that I feel like I'm talking directly to you, only you, whoever's watching right now. This is you and me. We're having a great level of intimacy through communication and conversation. This is what we call a feedback loop. And so in my head, I'm believing right now that I'm speaking to just one person, and that one person is the most important person in the world. So that's how I deal with nerves of going on camera. Also, when it comes to speaking to live audiences, I still want to make every single person in that audience feel really important, like I'm there for them and that they're there for me. The biggest fear I actually have as a speaker is not standing on stage, and it's not going on camera any longer since I've done all my training. It's actually a fear of going to networking events and having to make small talk with people. And that has a different level of intimacy, where I might have 3 or 4 people around me. And some people, particularly business leaders or people in sales roles, they have that fear of speaking in front of a team or speaking in front of their clients. The tips and techniques I'm going to share with you today are relevant for all situations. They're things that I've utilised myself, and they're also things that I now teach in my workshops and my one-to-one coaching or group coaching. As I said, we all experience nerves for different reasons. The thing is that the same response happens in all of our bodies. It's that same fight or flight response. It's that anxiety response that actually triggers. So the same thing that the cavemen used to experience years and years ago when they saw a saber-toothed tiger, the same response is actually happening in our brain. But are you really terrified of 1 or 2 people in front of you, or is it just a self-limiting thought that's going on in our brain. That's actually the truth behind it. Well, that's what I believe. And when we have people coming into the studio, particularly when they have to go on camera, I do notice that as soon as that red light comes on the camera, or as soon as you'll know if you have to record yourself for going on camera, as soon as you press that record button, something happens, right? The anxiety response happens. And I want to really share with you today the number one reason that I believe through the last 25 years of people that I have trained, what I've seen, there's one common reason why we all get nervous. What do you think it is? Anybody in the chat there, feel free to share whatever page you're on. I wonder if you can work out what that number one reason is why we trigger that anxiety response in ourselves as a speaker or as a presenter or in sales. Can you guess? Oh, hello Tracy Marie, lovely to see you on the stream there as well. Well, if you're not sure or you're hesitant to put a comment in the feed or in the chat, the number one reason why we all get nervous is fear of judgment. You see, in the hierarchy of needs, there's that need to be part of a community. And that fear of judgment, even though this is deeply subconscious stuff, that fear of being ostracized or not accepted is really, it sits very deeply within us. So while we may not be conscious of it, it happens for pretty much everybody I speak with or I train. So one of the keys to really overcoming your fear of public speaking or going on camera or doing your own social media videos or working with a videographer or doing your own podcast is to actually do the inner work yourself first, which takes me to the first point. The way to overcome your fear is to do that deeper work and start to back yourself. So I've had instances on live television where I've really struggled, where I have to come up with the answers all the time. I'm live right now. I always have to make sure that I'm on. And the way that I can do that is the preparation that goes with any broadcast. It's knowing that I, as a keynote speaker, as an MC, as a coach, that I have those answers. And if you're really good at what you do, if you know that you're really well trained, if you know you've got a track history of success when it comes to doing the work that you do, you should absolutely back yourself. I know there's a lot of people who talk about this concept of imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, I believe, and you can argue with me on this, wouldn't exist if we just spent the time not looking at all of those things that we lack, but looking at the value we add to someone else's life. So I want you to, if you're taking notes today, I want you to make a note. Ask yourself this question: what value do I give to others? How do I make someone else's life better? When it comes to speaking confidently, with conviction and authentically, backing yourself comes from having unwavering faith in your ability and what you do and how you show up and what you deliver to others, how you make their lives better. As soon as you start to focus on that value, and again, I've seen this too many times over the years that I've trained people, your confidence starts to take over from those fears. So back yourself. That's my first tip I wanted to share today. Hello, everybody watching on whatever platform you're watching on. It's lovely to have you here. Here's tip number 2 from me when it comes to overcoming your fear. I want you to breathe. I know it sounds so simple, right? And I know I'm being Captain Obvious. What happens in the anxiety response when we know that, there's that fear of judgment, or we know that this moment matters and we don't want to screw up, we don't want to look like a dick, whatever self-limiting thoughts are going on. That anxiety response, of course, releases a whole lot of adrenaline, which activates that fight or flight response. So what happens is our breathing also becomes really shallow. And in that moment, as we start to run out of breath, and because we want to run, we can't produce voice in the same way. We start to become more lightheaded, and that actually antagonizes the anxiety response. It contributes to that anxiety response. So as soon as you know that you're starting to feel a little anxious or a little nervous, remember just to breathe. And the right style of breathing is not that sports breathing, that got to move fast breathing. It's actually lower belly, what we call belly breathing, or the technical term for it, which I I've even taught children this. It's the intercostal diaphragmatic method of breathing, which is the same breathing you actually use when you sleep. So tonight, when you hop into bed, I want you to lie on your back, and I just want you to experience what it's like to breathe naturally. You'll find that as you lie on your back, your belly will expand. That's actually your rib cage expanding, your lungs inflating, and the bottom part of the lungs, which are the biggest part of the lungs, they're the parts that are designed to actually fill with air, not this upper chest area, which is a really small space. That part, as soon as we fill up with air, we have more air to produce our breath, all of our muscles start to relax, and we also calm our anxieties. And that's why this style of breathing is also used for practices like meditation, mindfulness, and yoga. Belly breathing is the answer, and it will start to calm your central nervous system, calm everything else down. Trust me on this. I've done it for years, and it works. The next point I wanted to share today is pace. Your pace gives away your nerves. So if you find that you're speaking and suddenly you're speaking like this and you're really excited, but it's also coming across as like information overload, and suddenly you've got too many words and you don't know how to get them all out of your body, breathe, gather your thoughts. It's okay to have a moment of silence and slow your pace down. And there's a couple of reasons why this is important. When you slow your pace, you actually calm your audience. So you actually appear more trusted. You calm your own anxieties at the same time. You appear more confident. But if you speak too fast all the time, it's really hard for the audience to actually understand what you're saying. It's too much information overload. So you need to calm your pace down and give your audience the opportunity to take those key messages on board. Pace is good. Silence or pause is great. And I know it sounds a bit dramatic while I'm being on camera, but particularly in a live environment when you've got an audience in front of you, that pace and that pause are really important to ensure that your messages are getting cut through. You don't have to create a lot of noise. You're not a machine gun. You're a human being having a human moment. So take your time with that moment. It's absolutely okay. And even if you know you're at a networking event and you've got 1 minute to deliver your key message, prepare that message in advance. Don't overfill it with words. Take your time, because that pace and that calm, again, will ensure that you sound and appear more trusted, and it will calm your nerves at the same time. And leading on from that point, practice is the number one way to overcome your nerves. Aside from all the other things that I have shared today, the more that you prepare, it's like learning to dance. The more that you practice those movements, the more they get embodied into your muscle memory. Once they get embodied into your muscle memory, when you finally get up to perform, it's actually artistry that comes out. It's personality that comes out. And the same thing happens with speaking. So the more that you're prepared with your messaging, the more that you know what you stand for, the more that you know who you're selling to if you're doing a presentation, say at a networking event, or the more that you have rehearsed your stories you want to share that humanize your business or your brand, the more that they're in your muscle memory, the more you can get up, breathe calmly, confidently, and have some fun sharing that information. And the great thing is that fun is infectious and it creates connection with your audience. So the more practiced you are, and I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I'm just going to wing it, I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants, and then they come back to me going, oh, I'm not sure I should have done that. Practice will enable you to look effortless. So practice, and allow that to get into your muscles. So on the day of your performance or your speaking engagement or going on camera, everything will flow easily and effortlessly. And I want that for you, because it's such a nice space to be in. Now, if this has resonated with you today, I am going to do a shameless self-promotional plug for my upcoming workshop on the 19th of April here in Auckland. I'm running a workshop at the Novotel here in Ellerslie. It's called How to Tell Better Business Stories. So if you are looking for easier ways to connect and communicate with your prospects, maybe you're thinking you need to do video for your social media content because stories are a great way to nurture sales. Perhaps you have to get up and do presentations for teams, or you have to do a presentation at your business's conference, or even as part of your sales process. Information is okay. But stories enable us to take people on a journey, to create connection. And even in the sales process, a well-told story enables your client or your prospect to see themselves in that situation or that journey, to be able to reflect on how your solution might be helpful for them to make their life better. So I'd love for you to join me on the 19th. I'm going to be teaching the art and craft of business storytelling, specifically to help you tell your story, share your story, use your story for sales, and also use your story to find that unwavering faith in yourself, your confidence, and your abilities. I'll also be sharing the top types of stories you should be telling in your promotions, your media and marketing. And I'm going to teach you the one structure that I have used for years, which has enabled me to do all sorts of sales magic, but never feel like I'm selling. Great example, which if you join the workshop, I'm pointing to the screen here, if you join the workshop on the 19th, you'll hear a story about the time I was able to sell $800 microwaves in just 30 seconds using this magic formula. And the great thing is the formula that I teach you can be used for your 1-minute presentations and networking events. You can use it as a formula to help write or draft a blog. You can use it for a keynote. All of my keynotes are based around this formula as well. It really is magic. So I'll be sharing that at the conference or workshop day. And it's a great place for you to network and meet other business owners, entrepreneurs, business professionals as well. You'll hear real life stories from other people who have gone through some of the training and are now sharing their stories with others. And it also includes lunch, morning and afternoon tea, and so much more. You'll also hear from Pete Ward in the afternoon, who'll be sharing a little bit on how to use digital storytelling and how to use your own story to create connection through digital platforms and how to do that. So I know you're going to love it. There is a link underneath this video. If not, PM me and I'm happy to send you that link. It's going to be a great day. I know you'll love it. And most importantly, you'll walk away with actionable tools that you can implement immediately to overcome your fears, to always know what to say, how, and when. And as well as that, towards the end of the day, for anybody who's keen, we'll have a camera there as well. So if you want to put your learning straight into action, we'll be filming short videos of you and your presentation that you'll be able to use in your own social media content. So if that sounds like a little bit of excitement for you, look, reach out, get in touch, or click the link below the video, and I'd love you to come and join me. So I hope that's been really, really helpful. And if you need any help at all, remember the key points from today are to back yourself, to breathe, to pace yourself, and to practice. And you'll learn so much more in the workshop as well. Time for me to head away. Please let me know your thoughts, get in touch, and I look forward to working with you or hearing you tell your stories very soon. I'm Monique Bradley. I'm a storyteller, and so are you. So tell more stories. Ka kite anō, inohora.